welcome to another broadcast. This is going to be another interesting one. It keeps getting more and more interesting. A lot of things happening that are rumbling behind us, the path that we're on. So we just have to pick up the pieces and start laying them out so that everyone knows what's going on. So to start off with, I just renamed this particular episode before getting online. It's when you register with the Kingdom of Manna, you're registering your asset as part of the asset of the crown. And this is something that I brought up sort of yesterday, because whenever I hear anything about registering, the first thing that comes to my mind is the debt-based system that we've been living in, and the system that's been all around us is that when you register a car title, when you register your home, when you register a birth certificate, what does it mean? It's completely different than making a list, a record. Recording something means something different than registering. Registering is basically, it has to do with, when you first hear the first part of the word, I know Thomas Williams likes to break down words. So reg is the regal, is the royal. To basically place it on a registry of items owned by the royals. So whenever you're going to register, please know what you're doing. So registering your car, registering your child, registering your house, registering your kingdom, your island, your tribe, your anything is going to mean it is an asset of the crown. So when I first heard that, that's what, I'm already alerted to that. So this has become very, after conversations yesterday with Tank after we got off the air, we talked about this a little bit more in depth to really have an understanding out there what it actually means to register. And you can, if you have had any contact in the world of the people that are looking at the scarecrow entities that are your Social Security, birth certificate entities that are created, and if you dig in just a little bit, you'll find out that this is what it's all about. It's about creating this registry of items that is going to, that's a lot of noise, my goodness. I have no idea what that is. Never hear noise where I'm at like this. So sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear that, but it was quite loud here. Microphone might be not hearing it. So when you're looking at registering all of these items, you have to understand that this is what we're doing. Is we're literally putting something as an asset, almost in tribute, to the royals. Here's the asset that is going for you now, the royalty. So this is the system. If you dig in at all, you'll find out that this is what it's all about. So when I saw that was in the documents or the Kingdom of Manna handbook, that was what is being done. Now, and you started thinking about what does this mean? What does this mean to all of us if the indigenous peoples around the world are making a new agreement to be under someone else? Does that sound like sovereign? So, hey, Tank, it doesn't sound like sovereign. Thanks for answering.
Sorry, I didn't want to leave you hanging. I felt like, there should be a call and response right now. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, your audio seems a little soft.
Okay. Check. I'll fix it now. Get right back to you. Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. Well, that was louder anyway. But so no, I know there's the want for us to move forward, right? We need to move beyond the same thing we've been doing for the last 16,000 years, whatever the time frame is, or if you just want to look at it over the last 100 years, wherever your red pill depth is. If you can go, you're just at the 100-year back to when they created the Federal Reserve, if you go back to the first central banks and how they were fought in the original 13 colonies and how they didn't want them, and whenever they put one in place, everyone became poor. Imagine that, because where does all the money go? It goes to the bankers. So of course the bankers always want to put one in, and they want to connive and create a situation where people accept it. But there's so many false realities that are generated by these cabals, going back, just go last 100 years or 200 years or 300 years, in that ballpark with the royals. That even if you dig in close to understand what's happened with the independent country of the Republic of the United States of America, that republic, if you dig in, you'll find out that each of these states that or part had a governor, right, that was working for the crown, right? And so these were not separate countries. These were all possessions of royalty. And when you will come together and you have and you're going to fight a war to basically fight, because we created our own money, not their money, and that's why the initial problem came up with the Boston Tea Party and all of this, right? Was because of the taxes. They said, well, we don't need your money, we'll make our own money. And they were doing really well with their own money, no interest money, and that meant everyone could pay back. You didn't have to borrow more to pay something that didn't exist. You can't pay back more than what exists. So if it doesn't exist, you have to borrow to get it. So the system is always fraudulent whenever you do an interest-based system. So when we're looking at what happened back then, you're going to now make a revolution, and we're going to have our own country. And then who are you borrowing money from? You're borrowing money from the King of France, who is also actually the same king as England. It's the same individual, same man. You're borrowing money from the same man to fight the same man. You want to talk about controlling both sides of the situation, right? You want to see what's going on. Do you think that we actually outmaneuvered them? Or did they just make a scenario that we fell into? The only thing that they want to make sure is that they had control over the money. So no matter what we did out on the plantation, each state was a plantation, right? Their ownership, whatever we did out there, that it would all end up being registered in a system, registered to the crown, because people don't know what registered means. And the people that do understand it, they have to fight the battle all the time, and people just keep doing the same system. So we're now see that Kingdom of Manna is out registering 1,000 tribes, and they're having great success. Do the tribes understand what they're doing? That they're becoming an asset on a registry. It's not a recording of a list, a record. A record and a registry are different. You can make a list. You can have an enemies list, a terrorist list, and you can put anyone on it that you want, even Kim. But that's your list. When you're going to register something, it is an asset being put on as an asset of a royalty. So this doesn't sound like sovereignty to me. Now, that's my opening monologue. I guess I'm starting with an opening monologue every day. I didn't even really think about it that way.
I've got to make sure I'm on time more often, because the opening monologue gets me pretty fired up, actually. it's really it's an incredible thing that I cannot be taken lightly, to be honest. What you're saying. Think about this. This is the methodology, right? That has always happened over and over and over again. You show up in my country, in the place where I'm already sovereign, and you introduce things to me like you're giving me something. But in reality, everything you're giving me, you set it up that you're taking something from me at the same time. So now that's why I I I I don't know if people are really appreciating what happened on Friday. The United States Treasury, for the first time in the history of the country, basically since for a very long time, 150 plus years, I would imagine, um, can print their own currency. The United States Treasury can print their own currency. That is what literally makes a country free when you have your own currency. We're not bound by a private sector, a private group creating our money offshore, right? Charging interest and essentially putting us in a perpetual state of enslavement and debt. And by not having that situation anymore, that means that everything else, everything else changes for every single person. I mean, that is world changing information, world changing. Um, so I don't think it can be taken lightly. Uh, you know, I think I
Oh, you went mute. I'm not taking it lightly. In fact, I'm pretty upset that it's again it's happening where a system is put in place, acting the part of being the benevolent source of money for everyone to fall in line with, and that it's now so all you have to do is register with us. That's what it comes down to. Register with us. Give your sovereignty over. We're recognizing your sovereignty, right? Oh, first part. Oh, we recognize your sovereignty. You recognize our sovereignty. Recognize your sovereignty. Please register under our sovereignty. So, to have this happen all over again is really uh, uh, upsetting. I don't know uh, how to really represent in as many words as how upsetting this can be, to say that we're just going to now, fall in line and do it again and turn everything back over, and then we start the process all over again. Neo gets reinserted back into the matrix. He didn't choose love. He chose he didn't choose to save Trinity. He went to go save Zion. So we're choosing Zion in the movie reference. Those. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Actually, it's
yeah,
probably the same thing. If I just thinking
right.
about it, the same. So if they're really laying it out in the movies, what they want to do, what the situation is, this is their way of informing everybody. It's through the mass media.
Hey, Dan, by the way, I spoke to the real author of the Matrix today and the Terminator.
Today.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was her name is geez, I don't want to say this wrong. Sophia Stewart, I believe. um, but I caught an interview with her. I just kind of reached out to her, but she's a very like, as a matter of fact, kind of person, and really, you know, um, but so am I for the most part. She but our first conversation, she actually hung up on me, and then we got back in touch. But it was just because I don't know. She thought she she got suspicious that I was going to start a fight, so she just hung up on me.
Uh,
I was like, wow, yeah. But she is somebody who is, I mean, a force to be reckoned with. I mean, she's known about the things that we talk about for a long, long time, right? I mean, she's known about them so long, she's been able to put them in, massive, uh, hyperbolic, you know, versions, and draw them out. So, um, really amazing. And she doesn't get credit for it, right? She's in a massive lawsuit. She's beat. right now, seven different lawyers, cabal lawyers, by herself. Right, she's a legal assistant. She's represented herself, and she has taken them to task so far. 7 of them, in court because they stole her scripts. They stole all of her writing.
Well, that would be an
They never gave her credit.
interesting to talk about. In reference to what I was just saying, is it's a way in which the cabal tells the story of what's happening in the world, right? And
Mm-hmm.
through the movies, through the media, through these shows and movies and things like that. So how I can, let's say, I could write the script of a movie that would be telling the story, and not like The Matrix did. I mean, that's a very unique story. But if I were to write a story, and I've thought of this, right,
Right.
and I expressed that to you, how what the storyline kind of would be, but use use the mass media to get the information out, and so that's why I appreciate The Matrix so much. I just wonder from her is how much of the story was tweaked to, or if it was at all, or the Matrix. They just want to get this information out there as their way of notification. Right? Hey, this is the system you're in. It's a mirage. We're just admitting to you it's a mirage. We just created this so you guys could be happy, right? And we just happen to suck up your energy.
Well, you know, it's weird though. I mean, like a lot of these guys, these these guys in the upper echelons of the order, right, in the cabal, they celebrate the creation. Like is it Orwell who wrote 1984? Is that right?
Yeah, George Orwell.
Right. So he also wrote another book, right? And in this book, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but it basically lays out the entire plan that we're watching play out right now. And they celebrated him, right, as a legend in this.
Mm.
And when he wrote it, he was, basically making fun of, exaggerating this awful system. And they're like, wow, good job. You figured it out. And they celebrated him. They brought him in their circle, and he was, acclaimed because of it. Right, in their world, let alone ours. Right now, we just
Right,
saw him as a fiction writer. They saw him as a visionary. You know,
right.
so and they and that's the thing that's so amazing. Now, and I know this. There's another book out right now called I forget what it's called, but my friend Marilee just interviewed the author recently, and it's something about like it's like a fictional tale, but a lot of it's based on real events of this woman's experience with the one of the Rockefellers and the Illuminati, right? And she learns of this. She learns all these different things in this culture, and it's called The Passion of the Illuminati. I think that's what it's called, and it's basically you know different characters like written in whatever kind of romance novel kind of style, but they were inviting her over, and we love what you wrote, and it's like it's not even a secret. The stuff isn't
Yes,
even a
yes,
secret. So
yes. No, that's the point of it. They just kind of like with a nod and a wink say, "Oh, here's a story for you," right? It's the truth. It's a little. There's a little bit of poetic license, that's been taken to tell you the story of what's happening, right? And there's, oh no, it's not real. It's fiction. That's Star Trek. That's Star
yeah,
Wars.
how
That's
how ridiculous!
how it,
We all get mocked by people, right? In our real lives, right? I mean, like I was thinking about this today actually before the call. I mean, and at times it has brought me to tears, like just thinking about how many people I have just loved my whole life. Who I have put so much energy, time into, in 1,000 different ways, and I came to tell them things that were true, and they could not receive it.
well,
They couldn't. They were
even the
rejected.
things. Yeah, even the things that get Star Trek, right? Which I grew up with, love Star Trek, and I would say, well, these are all possible things, right? I At the time when I was growing up, I didn't think that they were things that were already in existence. I thought these were all possibilities. But really, I realized pretty early that they were all actually already in existence. And and if I go decade by decade and were to bring up and tell the people, well, the things in Star Trek are real, and they'd always say, well, yeah, okay, maybe you can fly at the speed of light, but you can't go faster, right? Which is warp speed, right? Or there'd always be like a limit, but that limit kept shifting up. But the one thing that in the last, let's say in the '80s, I guess people would were saying, well, there'd never be a transporter. You can't transport right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
you can, and if you want to even think that it's not possible right now, if you do a little bit of digging in real scientific magazines and journals, and you'll see that it was reported where they did teleportation of matter, small amount, right? But it's mostly they started with photons, right? Represented here, represented there. They were able to do it. Now,
Yes.
what
That's
is
true.
in public, what's in the view of the view screen, and what they make public is always 30 to 50 years behind. So, yeah, teleportation does exist, and it has existed for a long, long time, way before Star Trek even was created, or even television was created. So, but we were just not aware of it or understood it, and we would think it would be magic. Go back, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. It's just magic. So
Right.
now we have a much better understanding of how things are, how things can work, how physics functions. And we're diving deep, right? We're building
Yeah.
super colliders and finding out pictures of things. And so there's some basic shapes. The platonic solids are how things are, and all the elements that we know are really just assemblies of the corners of where these electrons and things exist in a 3D space that form a platonic solid, or variations of platonic solids put together, and those points become what we would formally describe in as a circle with an orbit of electrons and an orbit. That was just one way of representing in 2D something, so we could have some way to express it and then pass that information to the next. But now we know that it's actually platonic solids that are in particular shapes that are holding positions, or those particular points that are coming into existence firm up into a matter, whatever that particular chemical element is.
It's like you stole the words out of my mouth, Dan. No, actually, you didn't. That was really impressive. Go ahead. Sorry. Continue.
It's okay. We're on the same wavelength. That's all.
Yeah.
Um, so just,
Yeah. That
just
was.
expressing the same information, so we can wake up. So now, again, this is if I'm wrong about any of these things, okay, Kingdom of Mana representation, someone from that is part of your group, come on and describe how when you're registering, they're not becoming an asset of a royal registry. Please come on, explain that, because this is something
No.
that is so infuriating. They want you. It's unbelievable to think that that someone is out there, especially started with Kim, right, and with the Mana World Holding Trust, with the mission to do this good deed, right, to create the Kingdom of Mana, be a representation of the of how the trust can then. This would be the entity that would interface with all of other groups on the planet and be the reach out. And now to see it and take it and
No.
put it into a position where they're going to now register everybody. Why don't you just do a birth certificate by birth certificate? Make it your asset.
Yeah. I mean, it's. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's really. It's like, look, everybody, and please, I hope by now that somewhere in the order of esteemed, peculiar gentlemen, the only the order of secret societies, and and incredible mediocre ideas, and you know in this world, right? Listen, you can't do it that way anymore. You can't register us, and if you do, you're going to get killed too. Nobody wins, okay? So we can all move. It's so simple right now. It's actually very exciting when you think about it, because this is kind of the first time where every time we talk about it, more and more people are catching on. And like, wait a minute.
Oh,
What's been happening?
I just sorry to interrupt you, but you just struck me. I thought we're talking about it, and people are watching these videos. And someone else made comments on yesterday's videos that said that they saw that there was like 400 and 500 people viewing. When I'm watching it, and we're at a 111 right now, synchronicity. Okay, 111 viewing right now. They saw 400 and 500 viewing while they were on. So this is now again, this is a very YouTube is a very massive enterprise, and they have databases all over the place, and some of them are just not sunk up correctly so that they're all on the same page, and so that's why this information leaks out in places. So we know that we're actually making we have more than 109 people viewing. It might be, it could be more than 5 or 9 or 400 or 500. It could be more. I guess the other day, who said that was 800 or 900 reviewing at a time? So we might be having that audience right now. Probably are, and it's probably growing. And as it grows, they show less and less on our side.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's awesome, man. That's great. That's a great point. And I think it's really important. Like, to be quite honest, I could care less about the Kingdom of Manna, or what path they're pursuing and what they're doing. What I actually care about, though, is the people that don't realize what's going on, who are being influenced, not just by them, but by that entire system. Because I'm certain that there's lots of great, wonderful, lovely people in the Kingdom of Manna, and but from the hierarchy, we're giving you firsthand, kind of experiences, right? We're not sharing like random stuff, right? But you'll notice these guys never speak for themselves, right? Like, you don't have the main guy, uh, Mr. I don't know, Ellerman, or whatever, name he goes by now. Um, and I will show him that respect to call him Mr. Ellerman, but I will not call him His Majesty of anything.
well, he had his sovereignty removed, right?
Right, because he doesn't have sovereignty.
The one that gave him the sovereignty removed the sovereignty. Right. So, yeah. Well, just like in the GCR, all these wonderful people that I was working with, all around the world, high level, formidable people, all knowing what's going on. But behind everything was a sinister plot. Didn't matter how many great people I was working with in the front. Just the same scenario repeated. Actually, you know what? A little side. I was covering. Someone sent me a message this morning. I got involved in the TBC world, TBC community. There is a kind of a system that was developed, kind of network marketing, where they're taking TBC as just as the source of a medium of exchange. And they said, okay, we're going to do a trading game. It's a money game. It's okay. Money games are just something to play, and you can make some money at it. The rules are laid out, and you know how they're supposed to operate.
Right.
Right. And when it was actually mentioned twice, and there's a community blog. It was mentioned twice in over a year, and I said, well, there must be okay. So I kind of got involved with the owner of that, and I said, hey, you're really missing, a lot of the countries, they can't afford $100 buy-in. It's good if you start down at $20 or $10. They start down there at $10. Then everyone could play, right? Because it's your entry point. You only have to put in that money the first time, and then you're trading with other people, and you trade up. And the system is fine as it is. I got involved with him and actually made up one. This was called TBC code. And I got involved, and I said, well, he didn't want to do a lower price. So I said, well, let me do it. Let me use your software. I'll buy your software. But he said, oh, I'll partner with you, and my guys will set it up. I said, okay, great. So I did all of this build up for it, right? We made a lot of graphics and spent a lot of time, a couple months, trying to come up with some changes I wanted. None of the, and the very end when we launched, threw away everything that I did, used exactly the same software, and we started. But it was set up in a way in which anyone that used my link, would get to a page, or anyone's link. They get to a page, and if you read through this black on white text, that's white text, you read, and then you have a big yellow button like this that says, if you're from the original TBC code, right, push here. But if you read all of the text, just in the little white words just above that button, it says, click here if you are going to stay under this under the person whose link you came on, right? Everyone presses the big yellow button. So that meant everyone who used my link got absorbed by someone else.
Right.
So that was a scam. So no matter that the system was okay from the standpoint of the idea behind it, but the owner of it, basically created a situation in which it was a scam against me, right? A scam against the people that also joined and had people come on their link. So, you go, oh yeah, it would be corrected. I had I kept asking, well, this guy contacted me, says it's not underneath me, but most people don't even check, right? That who's their sponsor after they've signed up. They're just ready to get going. They start signing up people. So it was overall, it was just a scam because of the guy behind it. So again, if you can have a great idea and represent something, but if the people behind it are scamming you, it's a scam. So you always have to look at the total picture and take your time and look at it. Right now, what we're talking about is actually a very serious life and death situation. Not just of you and your family, your village, your country. It's worldwide life and death situation.
A worldwide life and death situation. That's right. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's worldwide. It's not about just you, right? It's about a worldwide situation where they're going around and they're trying to create from the benevolent idea behind it in the very beginning, a situation where now you're going to register, like your birth certificate is now registered with the Crown Corp of England, which is owned by the Rothschilds and the Vatican and the 13 bloodline families. However, the breakdown or the percentages doesn't matter. The intent is ownership of everything.
Right, and that gives them the right. It gives them the right to pervert the message any way they want, because they're writing the narrative. And all of humanity has a choice right now. Everyone is standing here on the precipice of change. And the choice that everyone has is, do you want to be a slave? And the heart, look, this is like what who did the Underground Railroad? Who's the woman? Well, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she freed all the slaves, right? And a bunch of slaves to the Underground Railroad. And she said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more if I could have convinced them they were slaves.
Yeah.
That's the hard hitting truth, right? Now we don't want to accept that we're slaves. It's like, no, I'm free. I get to choose this. I get to choose what movies I watch, and kids.
So what? Hello? Hello.
From some country I've never heard of.
We lost you for about a minute.
Yeah. They just jumped on. Or somebody just called me. But they give us the illusion of freedom, right? And the illusion of freedom, is when we have these limited choices within this limited scope of options in the compartment, where we are allowed to grow, and we are allowed to grow just so big inside that compartment. And if we try to get outside of that compartment, then that's where there's the problems that we have, right? That's where they start to mess with our lives and they start to really, take us apart, you know. And I've watched it happen. I watched it happen in my own life. I watched them. I was ran out of business by um, two investors. One of which is the only doctor who has a permanent seat uh, with the United Nations. Um, and I mean, our model ran at like a 90% profit margin. There was no reason why everybody made money off of our model. Really what it did is it revealed how much excess there was and how much money could be saved. And we were doing everything legally, but it was that bad. And we had contracts that people would really make a business. We had contracts with the NBA and professional soccer and all types of organizations. And you know what they did? They RV'd us. you know, they they had me buy out my partner, and we made that was part of the contract, and they guaranteed a certain monetary amount coming in with, and they never came with the money, and so I used all my liquidity, and they ran me out of business that way. Now that was also my immaturity, and lack of experience, um, but the thing is that when you realize that's happening, right? And that was because they targeted me based on a test I took. I mean, all that stuff is real because I took a test, and in the test, it was the Hermain Brain Dominance Study. And in this test, they told you how you think, right? And they showed you how you think when you get stressed and how you think when you are, when things are good. And they told me that my test was the only test they'd ever seen that was identical in both. So whether I was stressed or whether things were good, I handled situations the same way. And that made me a target because they don't want that, right? Because if that's the case, you
They can
can't,
control you.
right? You can't control me because when you try to stress me out, I'm going to handle things the exact same way. And that's it's just part of the process that they do to. So I'm speaking out of school, even when I was recruited by various, organizations. Like for a while there, I used to get intel directly from a group from Wells Fargo. And that group from Wells Fargo, all they did was watch the chat rooms in our land. That's all they did. And I used to get intel directly from them. And I thought I was connected. I didn't realize at the time I was being controlled, right? I looked at it like, man, I'm getting the best intel you could get, right? And then later, my handler for them, right, who was a CIA, they were trying to recruit me into the CIA, right? And he was telling me all the benefits and all the things I'd be involved in, and this list that I was on, all these things like that. And then they came at me with the largest bondholder in the world approached me. The largest bondholder in the world reached out to me and said, "Listen, you know, oh, and this is what he said. He said, only listen to me." As soon as he said that, I knew immediately I can't talk to this guy ever again. Because anybody that says only listen to me, I know they're lying. you know.
Well, I would have listened. So now, okay.
Oh no, I listened to him for a while, but
Now
I
I
never
know
repeated
exactly
I
what
never
the
repeated
side of it
anything.
is.
I never repeated anything he said though, ever.
Um,
Because the things he said were like, I mean, it was like serious stuff. I mean, serious. Like he knew about, money being moved all over the place and different things. And at the time, it was so new to me. I was like, how is this possible? Like so it overwhelmed me. But I just knew I didn't want to be involved with something that was nefarious. I didn't want to be on the wrong side of things.
Yeah, I know. One of the things that I did not know from really. I mean, of course, I had inklings of maybe there's a lot more out there on the private side of money than I knew. I could okay, but for it for what is public to be such a small fraction, such a small amount that is allowed to be used by the debt slaves, so that they can eat and feed themselves, right? So it was unbelievable to really think about how much there's an asset. I mean, just jumping in the beginning with Swiss Indo, they were talking about 89 billion kilograms of gold and platinum. It was like that. That was what was in their trust in UBS. So this is just in an astronomical amount, right? To think about that, right? And then And that's just one of the assets. Thinking about, I know when I talk with other people in the know, right, in part of government, and, well, there's only two Olympic swimming pool size filled with gold. That's it in the whole world. That doesn't make any sense. You can just add up this just for how much China buys every year, how much Russia buys, and you add up all the countries and their purchase of gold every year. And you just say, well, that's 1 year. Well, it's not about doing this for 100 years or 1,000 years. It's even you just go back to Egypt. We're talking 4,000 years. Go back, in China, 5,000, 8,000 years. They're just gathering gold, gathering gold, gathering gold, and then they're sitting on it. This is the wealth, right? And they all collect it. So obviously, there's a lot more. There was told of cities of gold, right? And the Mayans had gold, so much gold that they just made their cities. It was an average material, right? They made their things out of.
Right. I mean, go and gold doesn't tarnish, but it's a soft metal. It's not that useful. I mean, even in the sense other than as a trophy, right? I mean, even as an asset, the real assets, that are considered valuable. I mean, not that. I mean, gold has a value. I mean, there's cultures. My understanding is they use it as food to prolong life, and there's ways to transmute it into this. What is it? The white gold powder. So I'm sure that's valuable, but there's ways it's supposed to be ingested in the body, and
Yeah,
most
you
people
could
don't know
actually
that.
nanitize it. You could turn it into nanoparticles, perfect little spheral, little typey things, which are at the nano level. That literally it can go in and fight disease in your body just by it's not harmful to the body. So it's actually helpful to the body to have gold in your system. So if you had, brought this into your body, it would flood your everywhere in your body, and everywhere there were bacteria and things like that would end up surrounding them, because it's like dust on the dust mites. It's so tiny that it would literally just clog up all of the pores and suffocate all the bacterias and things like that end up coming in contact with it. So it's a way of actually, curing disease. Pour this nanotized gold, and it's suspended in water.
Yeah.
So, I, I well, I'm not going to say more about that. But I've seen quite a $500,000 worth of nanotized gold in one
Well,
vessel.
I know that one of the most valuable assets we have on the planet is water, right? And then there's minerals that are not registered on the periodic table, that exist on the planet, that are just in they're right in the soil in Africa. It's part of the reason why they've uh, so actively tried to demolish Africa, right, and control Africa constantly, because there's so much valuable minerals and resources.
Hey, I just posted the link for anyone that would like to come on, including the Kingdom of Mana. If you'd like to come on and tell me, why are you registering these groups, and underneath who? Under what royal registry is this that you're registering them under?
You know, and I think worth noting is this as well, is now there are contracts that have held us under corporate law. And I can't say this unequivocally, because I guess you do have to respect the law of the land if it's still in force. But it would stand to reason that the corporate contracts that have, I mean, well, all of the contracts that have held us hostage, they are they're void now. They've expired. You know, and a great witness of that is that the U.S. Treasury is going to print their own money, right? And like we said and have been saying now for a while, is that the Federal Reserve has been dismantled. They don't have a charter, and they're not allowed to print money. So if that money comes out, the only thing that gives it power is the people, right? What gives these things power is the people. It's funny, just as a side note, they were recruiting these beautiful models to sell Bitcoin, right? Because, guys with money like, beautiful models, of course, right? So, I mean, not that, I mean,
I
I guess
heard Trump
lots of
also
people.
likes beautiful models.
Yeah, other people do too, I hear. Yeah. But the point is, they would recruit them, right? And they would like be, they would try to get rich off this, right? Off the Bitcoins, and it's a tactic, right? Like one of the many ways that they were just trying to, make this the it thing, right? And it's all designed to harvest the planet, right? If anybody has seen Jupiter ascending, that is pretty accurate. At least lots of it. Many parts of that are very accurate of what they intended to do. Like that's a real family, a real galactic draconian family. I can't remember what they're called, but that exists in the movie. That's a real family. They really exist, and that's the real name, by the way. That's the real name. So.
Well, interesting. Wasn't Jupiter? Wasn't her background, family background from Russia?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that's accurate as well. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I mean,
So all the points are covered. But that's just a movie, Tank. It's not real.
There's a few movies that Kim has turned me on to over the past year. One of them is the Divergent series, right?
Oh yeah.
Because in the Divergent series, the whole movie is an illusion. What you find out towards the end, like everything they believed was real that had happened to the world was wrong. They were just an experiment, and they were contained in this box and this, and sectioned off, and it's this hyperbolic version of reality, right? Like you have to choose, where your loyalty is and all these different things, right? And like that's one of the movies. The other one is The Ender's Game, right? And The Ender's Game is like training kids, right, to manage these galactic fleets to wage war against these like, I don't know, these giant bug people, right? And in the whole time you think they're training, and then you find out like, they really, they're really in the war. And that's kind of how it's been for a lot of us too. Like we're engaged in the war, and the asset of our, of ourselves has been used, right? But we don't know we're in a war for the most part. We just think this is life.
Well, Tui is here. Tui.
Ratu tui loa loa.
Ratui.
He's still muted.
Okay.
He's running back to his tablet right now. Pushing the. Well, maybe he's not ready to come on yet. This particular illusion is being presented. We have to wake up and realize that we need to stand on our own. We don't need to pass it. Hello.
Hey, Robert.
Tui.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Tank.
Hi, Tui. Hello, Tui.
I can hear you.
That's good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Yeah, you can go ahead. Talk for the next half hour. Go ahead.
What's on your mind, man?
No, it's okay. So do you want to add to our conversation about registering with the Kingdom of Manna?
Well,
It's an illusion.
Hello.
Oh, you're not
Hey,
here.
Robert. Hey, Dan.
Hi, Tui.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Tank.
Are you having some
Hope
slowdown?
you guys are doing well.
We are.
I think
Sorry, it's
It's a delay. That's what he was going to say.
I can't hear you.
well, we stopped talking so
Sorry, I can't hear you properly. I think it's something to do with my connection.
we're stopping
I
talking.
can hear you.
You can catch up with what we're saying and then allow you to speak. Go ahead. Go.
Well, while we're waiting,
That was Tui.
that was Tui. That was it. Yeah. I can, um, you know, Kim did say that she she did transfer and it is currently in compliance funds.
Oh, that's a good way
Which
to slip in right now.
yeah.
Let's do the update. All right, good.
Yeah. So she's trying to figure out why it's in compliance though, right? Which so am I, by the way, because she did just capitalize the banks so that they could function, right? As far as I know, that's the reason why. Now that could mean something different. It could mean that she capitalized her bank, but as far as I can tell, she's capitalized the banks and she's made it so the Treasury can print their money again. And like I said, I think yesterday is that this time it looks like Steve Mnuchin is finally removed, although he was at the White House yesterday. So I'm sure that he's going to suddenly leave because of personal problems, probably because his wife was shown a tape of him with a 13-year-old girl, and she left him. So I suppose that could be a reason to leave. But the script is flipped, and at some point, these higher authorities will also wake up because their power is slipping away, right? The illusion is what has maintained this power, and our observation of that illusion destroys it, right? So when we are consciously and actively promoting and talking about and explaining what's happening, the more we do that, the more it breaks down the illusion, right? And you break it down from all sides, and you explain exactly how they're using this technique to control everyone and control the situations and our various loved ones that we are constantly trying to wake up. And by doing that, we destroy their illusion, and in destroying their illusion, they cannot hold us hostage anymore. So,
right. Well, I think if she's capitalized the banks and it's in compliance, can't she uncapitalize the bank until the compliance is done?
Well, again, there's details that I'm not being. Okay. I don't have yet.
You know what? I'm sorry. It was a rhetorical question. It was.
Yeah, of course.
It was more like pointing out. It's like, can't she? She can reverse it. So why not say, oh well, it's in compliance. Well, let me just reverse this until everything's done with compliance situation.
Patience, Obi-Wan. Patience.
Patience.
No more patience. No, now we're done. No more patience.
No, that's right. The hospitals are filled with patients, and all of them are sick.
Totally.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of hearing that term. People have been telling me to be patient. I'm like, listen, I have been waiting my whole life for right now, and so have you. So that whole concept of patience is just played out, in my opinion. That is nonsense. It's nonsense.
I met a nurse today who deals with people who are patients in hospitals. And he's saying that they project onto him what they think he is when it's actually them. And he can't get his message of light through to them to heal them. But he's walking around as light amongst patients who created their reality. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were hearing me.
No, I can hear you. Whenever people talk about being light, I always think of this song. I can't remember who's. I want to say Billie Holiday, but I don't think it is.
Love her.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not.
Harriet Tubman was the one that you were looking for.
Harriet Tubman. Thank you. Yes.
For the Underground Railroad, she's the one that was operating the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman. Yeah. I did a quick look while you were all the way passing. I'd like to give her credit because that was a very good thing she did.
Oh, profound. It's a profound statement, right? It's convincing us we're slaves because nobody wants to be called a slave. I mean, there's no term that is more insulting. And by the way, we get to decide, if we're slaves. I mean, we don't have to be. And oh, I'm traveling light. That's the song I was thinking of. Whenever somebody talks about being light, this one song she says, "I'm traveling light," and she's talking about like not taking many things with her. But I'm like, no, she's traveling light. That's what
Exactly.
we're all seeing. We are light embodied, and we're traveling. So, that's all you can do. When you are light, it doesn't matter if you're the only one. You're just walking, being the light. All you can do is shine.
So we're light that's traveling, contained in a body of consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Couldn't say it better.
I got a message like 4 a.m. talking about the codes of Enoch, right? And the summary of the codes of Enoch, right, was much more powerful than the and there was a very long book that I didn't get into, but the codes themselves, I'm like, you know what? This is something I feel like everybody should kind of embrace. Oh, the keys of Enoch. Excuse me, the keys of Enoch. This is what the is how it's described, right? The book of knowledge, the keys of Enoch, is a multi-level teaching that states the issues of the future in a unique spiritual and scientific language. The keys examine the puzzles of life and give a spiritual explanation as to why we exist in this reality. In essence, it provides insights and an understanding of our past, present, future cosmology, connected with a blueprint describing the next stage of humankind's future evolution into a higher state of consciousness. The Keys of Enoch teaches us that a greater unity can and must occur between the scientific and spiritual pathways, because, like I always say, God and science are best friends, in order for the problems of Earth to be solved. Its ultimate purpose is the advancement of humanity, with the goal of changing our orientation so that we are prepared for a higher spiritual attunement and a quantum shift that will move humanity and the Earth forward in the next step in our evolution. In this process, an ultimate interaction is foretold as we discover greater families of intelligence in the universe who share the same higher evolution and the same divine source. The text is a multi level process of instruction whereby the reader acquires the ability to work with the mental pictures in sacred language and consciousness expansion through which an actual transformation can take place, with the recognition that life is a process of experiencing multidimensional worlds. The text explains how we can discover God's manifestation through the emanations of higher positive thought forms, and mathematical rhythms of light and vibrations with a greater resonance field. It also shows how higher thought forms work with the vibrations of light waves in harmonious coordination of collective, not independent pathways that bring us to a deeper connection with the living God. So I heard that. I'm like, man, if that doesn't describe right now, I mean, that's what's happening right
Totally.
now. You know,
Now is.
now the the videos I saw in the books itself, I realized, the way they describe it is it wasn't channeled. It was an actual face-to-face interaction with Metatron, and I can't remember the other one, but Metatron was one of them. And I just thought, I'm like, that description is exactly what we're talking about right now.
Mhm.
Is we are each one of us has our own toroidal energetic field that we are emanating, and that field can be measured too. That's a fact. That's scientific fact. Now, some people will call that our aura or our essence, right? It's the in the in Hebrew they call it the Chaya, right? Some people call it the chi, but it's the spirit and the energy that emanates from all of us and connects all of us and makes up all of us and all things. And understanding that we exist within that and we are connected to all things allows us to emanate a true um, independently free will. And I describe it this way, that if you realize that your body is made up of atoms, and those atoms, in a sense, made a conscious decision to band together to make you, right? And they hold together based on the collective mind of you. And your body is filled with cells and atoms that are all just you know kind of threefold in nature, and they're held together by the intention to exist, which you hold. And that's what you call yourself, right? And if we expand that energetic field, as we understand things greater and greater, we expand the light, we expand the consciousness, we expand the life energy force that allows everything on the planet to grow. Plants and animals and everything. Now that is the time we're in. That's the time we're in, is to move forward.
Indeed.
Into that energy. Yeah.
Awesome. That's a. I'm gonna go ahead and read more into that. I've been looking at this, from the aspect of the light and where we're going. The whole path that I've been on. This not just the last 4 years with the GCR, but going back, and what I started with, even as a young man, to now. All of it is come together at this time for this moment to do this thing, to bring in this information, to talk about it, to point out what's going on, so that people can say, "Oh yeah, well, let's not, register in a new debt slavery system." There's so many versions of the debt slavery system that they're trying out there, like those little encampments that they're in that movie Divergent, right? There's a version over here and a version. Let's see which one of these is going to work out. Like petri dishes, little experiments to see how we're going to move forward. And this is the time we need to really just say, well, let's not be in the petri dish, right? Let's just take this on all together and manifest the abundance we're all looking for. Right? But we've got to do it ourselves.
Right. And money is just energy, right?
Money's
So
just
money
energy.
it's just energy, and it's an exchange of energy. So money is an evil. This is something that is often misquoted, right? People say money is the root of all evil. Well, no, it's not. It's the love of money is the root of all evil, right? And the reason being is, as soon as you put an illusion, right, this idol that we create, and make that the sole focus of everything we're doing, the pursuit of money, we stop. We, even with businesses and companies, organizations, people constantly, kids go to school to make money to survive. They go to school and they're thinking of, how do I make the most money? Their parents are thinking about, you'll be successful as long as I know you have enough money to take care of yourself. But the reality is, we want to get to a place where money is just a tool. It's just one of the many forms of energy that we use to bring forth our vision, our ultimate reality of what and who we want to be. And those things, everything from that point, is just an extension of the energetic field that we ourselves are generating. And therein is like the source of creation, right? It's the substance of all things.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And the love of money also has people create interest. For the use of money, I'm going to charge you.
We are the valuable asset. We humans have to recognize the value within each other, so that the value of money disintegrates away and purpose becomes the rule, and value, sovereign.
I'm all for the purpose of abundance. We can move forward and recognize that we are the energy behind it, the value behind it, and we can now use it for everybody's benefit. And it's up to us individually to take action, right? And like sharing this video, share the video, share it every day. Take the new one, pass it on, put it on your Facebook, do it every day, and have that spread out. That's why we're having a very big impact. It's good when like I was reading the comments from yesterday to see someone was able to see 400 viewing, 500 viewing, and I'm only seeing 116 at the moment. Right, through the whole program, it's 120 to 140 it fluctuates, maybe 160, 180, but it's having a much bigger impact. So just share, put the like, pound the like button, make a positive comment. These things all help move it forward. All right, well, two of you, did you want to try and add anything? Did you? I know you popped back on. Are you able to talk now? Maybe not.
Maybe not. Perhaps no.
Perhaps not.
So we chime in whenever you want, man. Chime in whenever you want.
Yeah, just whenever you're ready. If it's possible, it might be just a slowdown of the internet. It seems like that's what's going on. Or we must be.
I think I can.
Good.
You good, man?
Hi,
Go ahead.
Tui. You're muted again. He's gone. Well, it's okay. Well, just keep going. So, we're only 1 hour in. Well, that's a good place to end. Okay, we'll do a 1 hour show.
Dan, have you ever tried kava? Dan, have you ever tried kava?
Kava.
Kava with a K. Ask Tui what kava is.
You know, I've had cacao.
No. See, kava is the root of Fiji Island, and they make tea from it. And they use it to create community by drinking it because it calms you down and it makes you not worry because it makes you community. And you talk about things that are community. It's a great substance. Ask Tui about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kava. Well, when I get to Fiji, I can have some kava. Get the
It's
kava.
a wonderful experience.
I know. I'm so not calm right now.
No, you're calm. It's just an experience.
No, I'm not calm right now.
Okay.
Because of this registry with the Kingdom of Manna. I'm not calm. I'm upset.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that's why I suggested it, actually.
You being upset about it.
You need kava. You need kava. Kava will help you. It's okay.
Yeah, here in the Philippines, there is a chocolate. I think it's called cacao, and it is very. It's like a super chocolate. It's like you need like a half a teaspoon of this to make something so chocolately flavored. They add it in rice or just make it in with milk or chocolate milk. But it's like, if you want to say something close to chocolate, it's like 99% the same as chocolate, just a little bit more. It's a little different. That's all.
Cool.
We just call it cocoa here, but yeah.
No, it's not cocoa.
It's different than cocoa, but yeah.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
No, I've actually been on some farms here that have both chocolate and cacao growing side by side.
Wow.
And I mean, this over this side and that side.
Yeah, cacao is a super nutrient too. It's a superfood, right?
Yes.
There's all types of amazing things in the body.
Yeah, actually, I was going to be doing dragon fruit farming. I was kind of like heading in the direction we going to set up a farm for dragon fruit. Kind of going to do it in the future. That's really also a very amazing, beneficial fruit. It's like one of my favorites. The purple one, that is, a really deep purple colored one. There's at least 3 main varieties. There's like an orange colored flesh, white colored flesh, and then the purplish.
So many wonderful things out there.
Yeah, this is. It's amazing though. This is a perfect place for growing it. Actually, it's a cactus. It's a crawling, climbing cactus. It literally will crawl and then climb up. It leaves roots in the ground wherever it's at, but it will actually hoist its body up into the highest trees.
It sounds wonderfully alive and very alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, if I saw a crawling cactus, I'd be like, you know what? We're not going to eat that. I feel like
I ain't sleeping next to that thing.
Yeah,
you know,
this
I feel
it looks like dragon egg, right? The dragon fruit looks like a it looks like a dragon egg. Yeah, scaly. But most one of the most wonderful fruits that I know. I like another one called guyabano. Guyabano's the flesh of it is white, uh, like perfect white, creamy, very sweet, uh, and it kind of looks like a big porcupiney potato. And very, very, very. I should not porcupines are like that, but it has these little bumps on it that are kind of a little bit sharp.
Prickly.
Prickly, that'd be a better word for it. But wonderful fruit, right? And it could get huge, like watermelon size, right, or
Prickly
small.
watermelon.
Really see the amazing giant fruits here. I mean, they're bigger than watermelons, hanging from a tree, not like a vine laying on the ground like watermelons. These things are hanging in the tree. They're like super huge.
In your face, hanging. I love it.
It would be something. Yeah, and they grow low, right on the not on a branch, but on the trunk of the tree. Yeah. So it kind of just hangs off. But there's jackfruit, durian. These are just amazing.
We need some of those farms here in the United States.
I think it's just the whole
climate there.
climate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little distracted because we have a little bit of a flea infestation.
Eek. In there.
no.
It's
not good.
Here, right? So it's been in the mid 90s for last month or so. So it's on the warm side, and but there's just fleas just started popping up the last week or so. But today I'm walking around. I woke down and I have 5 or 6 fleas on my legs.
They like your ankle. Yeah, your ankles are really delicious to them.
Yeah.
It's very annoying.
You know what I'm curious about in this as we go into this new age, right? And we find ourselves in more of a harmonic balance for the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Is will things come back? There's a I just saw this. I mean, there's been random sightings of dragons, right? You'll see off in the distance, you'll see a dragon flying or something like that. And people have filmed these with their cameras, right? And they could very well be real, right? But this guy, he's in China, he caught this, he killed this animal that was devouring its, or it was attacking his pets, his dog or something. And when he took a picture of it, I mean, it's incredible. It's probably 15 feet long. It still had I say still, I know something about dragon babies, but I kind of got the impression that it's like a dragon baby, but it was clearly a dragon. It was like one of those, kind of like a serpent type dragon, right? And it was like all white.
Now?
You know what? I'll pull it up for you. I'll send it to you. But it's so amazing. It's like things like that. It's like I wonder, will things like that, I've seen there's fairy gardens in Ireland. I actually have a friend who was telling me about it. Yes, they're there and it's known, right? That there's fairies there, right? And so I wonder, in this, this world, we have pests like fleas, right? But I would think, you wouldn't need them. You wouldn't need these bugs that do, that basically, kind of parasitic, so to speak. If we were in balance with the whole planet, right? And you had things like fairies coming back and things like that. So I really hope that's true, right? I would love for my, I would love to just suddenly be able to, I've actually heard there's ways to create fairy gardens, right? Because it's all about a frequency. That they're here now, and we just need to vibrate at that frequency.
Right. Well, I also recall there's a Dragonfire movie. Remember that? They kind of woke up. They were kind of buried in underground, woke up, and then ended up taking over the entire planet and torching the whole planet because the only thing they ate was burnt
ash
or something. Yeah, so they had to burn everything down. But maybe it's not a good thing that they're coming back.
Nah, they do that stuff. They do that stuff on purpose to make us afraid of things that are not, like they do that all the time. They try to portray things as evil and, one way or another. And it's like, they do that. So like aliens, right? There's very few alien movies that portray aliens as like beings that are, interacting with us and trying to help for the most part, right? And when they do, they almost make them comical. Like Men in Black is like, like I used to joke with Fisher, and anybody who followed the Real Truth Call knows Fisher. But I used to tell Fisher all the time, I'm like, Fisher, you're Agent K from Men in Black, right? I mean, because he kind of was. He just had these amazing experiences.
Tank, have you ever
Yes.
heard of a wyvern?
A wyvern?
A wyvern. It's a dragon with breasts, so it's a female dragon and it goes back and forth, male, female. Anyway, Merlin when he used to do his magic, he used to when he put the snake fingers out, he would release an invisible dragon around the person that would wrap around them and cause them to be restrained.
Really?
Yeah. I used to have a wyvern on I used to have a necklace of a wyvern. It's quite a beautiful animal.
I'm like, you've been holding out on this, man. You had a wyvern.
I hold a lot of things out. There's a lot of stuff in this little noggin.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So.
I could do a whole series on it, but I don't know you guys how to do channels like you guys do. So I'll just join you. tidbits here and there. But I love what you guys say, so I'm here.
It's good, man. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm a dragon by my Chinese astrology.
Dragon's a good thing.
And so I've always had a lot of dragons, and I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was in high school. So I always liked dragons. So I always liked the idea of combining the Western and Eastern horoscope. So I'm a Libra dragon.
I'm a Leo.
So I had a self image of that being a gold dragon with a split tail, and the tail was a scale.
Well, all of us have seen the Game of Thrones, correct?
You know what? I've never watched the Game of Thrones.
Oh my God!
It's one of those things. It's like I'm going to wait until they've finished, and then I'll binge watch it.
There you go. I do a lot of binge watching. Well, she has dragons in the movie. I'm not going to give it away, but that's enough to get you there.
Well, now
so amazing.
I've this constant advertisement coming to me from a Game of Thrones game.
Oh.
And I'm going, it looks like a good game, but I don't want to get into that. That'll take too much of my time.
Exactly. But the movie, the Game of Thrones, they're coming out with a new episode to finish the end of it, I guess, this year. So I'm waiting for that. I've already seen the rest of them because I binge watch like you do. So.
Also, is it ending?
I believe it is. It might be it's a series of episodes to ending. Yeah, I think.
So this is it. There's no more. It's done. I can watch it.
I don't have that as an actual answer, but I think that's correct. They also have they have 5 Avatar remakes, not remakes, but 5 Avatar movies coming out to carry out that series and movies. It's very exciting. Good timing.
Wait, which Avatar?
The movie Avatar?
Like The Last Airbender, or like Avatar
no,
the Blue People?
No.
The Blue People. That's the story about how our symbiosis with the planet is actually we have the same oh, you see me? We have the same symbiosis with the planet that the Avatars did.
Yeah.
And that's what that's all about. Is a connection to the planet and your soul and your creator.
That movie is not talked about enough. But I'll tell you something. That movie, when that movie
I
came
talk
out,
about it a lot.
people were leaving. People were leaving the theater, and they were suffering from depression
Oh my
because
God.
they realized that they had nothing like that in the reality they lived in.
And
That
that's
was
what we're manifesting right now, is that
Yeah.
reality with our connection to our planet.
Agreed. I
Just
love
like
that
you
stuff.
said earlier. So you already gave a really good description of it, so I'm not even going to go there. But that movie's what you're talking about. And that's
Yeah.
happening now in real time. But the
Yeah.
power you give back to the illusion just feeds the illusion. So my message to people is not to feed the illusion, to feed your source and get your food from your source and manifest your source constantly, daily, every second of the day. By being in the now, you create the new manifestation that Kim's trying to bring into reality. It's really quite simple.
Kim always tells me that there's many people working on this, and really it's everyone, right? We're all working on this.
Is.
Some dimension, some aspect of ourselves we're all united somewhere, trying to bring in this reality. And I think that's very true. See that all the time.
Oh, tank, it's out of compliance.
I know. What does that mean? Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like,
it's out. It's already done.
There is no division, because they taught us division when they did north, east, south, and west, up and down. But if you notice, the kids that were coming in our generation, they didn't have any up or down. They had 360 degrees movement on the rollerblades and all that stuff. They have no up or down. Something to think about.
I still think they could fall down. I'm not sure exactly that example.
Yeah,
water, exactly.
It's a hard reality when you hit the ground. But they like to have no up or down, no sideways, whatever. They like to go all 360. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
This guy that the nurse I was telling you about walked into our Inside Out place today, and I saw him talk. He was just bubbling, full of love. I've never seen anybody so bubbly. And he was talking to one of the bartenders, and I heard the bartender, when he was giving some information. He teaches yoga also, yogi or something. Anyway, he was telling the guy something, and I heard the guy say, I only have a month to learn this. So I walked up to him. I said, don't say that. Say it this way. I have a lifetime to learn. Don't limit yourself by what you say. And I patted them both on the back and I walked away. That was my message. The guy got up and came over and said, oh my God, that was so powerful. And we talked for almost 3 hours. Everything about you, about Dan, about Kim. And he's like, he just processed it all. I couldn't believe it. Never happens.
Always happens.
It's coming. It's becoming. It is coming. That's why I say OB1, be patient. Because it's here. It's not about,
it's here.
It is. Yes, it is.
They all checked out of the hospital.
Highly doubtful, but okay.
Oh no, they have. You didn't see it?
I'm still waiting for the movie.
Stop waiting. No more patience.
See, now you're using my own technique on me, Dan. Naughty. Very good. I like it.
Well, it would be how to say makalet. Makalet is the Tagalog word for basically a child that's being naughty, right? Makalet.
Nice to learn something new. To me.
And also papawa is the other word. I can't really define the difference between the two, but they're different. Everyone agrees they're different, but no one can tell me how. But they both basically they're naughty, but in English they're the same thing.
I have a feeling that answer is going to come to you very quickly.
Okay. Actually, in the Philippines, they ask, so what's your name? I say, my name is Pogi Guapo Makolet Pasaway.
I love it.
And they start laughing because I just said I'm handsome, good looking, troublemaker, naughty.
That is perfect.
Naughty.
And I said, because that's what
Funny,
everybody calls me, right? I just took all the 4 names that they call me, and I put them together.
My parents used to tell me. My parents
Indeed.
used to tell me that my full name was. My parents used to tell me my full name was Nate Kareem Abdul Archibald Jabbar Rao.
Oh my God.
And,
Can you imagine getting through high school with that?
They used to joke on me all the time when I was a kid, and I thought for sure that was my real name. I thought that was my whole name.
My real name was Lilybridge. Lilybridge. Thank God the universe did not get that on my birth certificate.
Lilybridge?
Lilybridge. Can you imagine what I would have had to deal with on top of what I was dealing with in grade school with that name?
I'm sure they would have called you gay.
Well, I am, but who cares?
Yeah.
No, but
but in grade school, it's like, who knows?
Well, hey, I was in grade school. They just didn't know it. I didn't know it till I was actually in 11th grade. And I said, you know what? I'm not going this route. I'm going this route.
Yeah.
And I just did it, so it's good.
So Tu made it back on the line, and he's we can hear him now. I heard him laughing a couple times.
He's having fun. I love it.
Hey Dan, hey Robert, hi Tank.
Oh, good. We
Sorry,
can talk.
Yes.
Namaste, Tui.
Okay.
Greetings to all of you.
When I come to visit, right, when I'm there, just remember of my name of Pogi Guapo Makolet Pasawai.
And Tui, get a big bowl of kava for him. Now you get the joke, don't you, Tui? I love you. You get the joke. So explain to Dan what kava is, please, at your leisure.
The kava is our traditional drinks for the chiefs originally, which is actually part of part of the agreement that we are supposed to be playing as the native Tol tribes of the south. And so the kava is a mixture of a kava plant. It's a root of a plant which is called kava. We call it in our language yangona. And yangona. The significance of kava is it was not a traditional drink in the olden days. It was just drank during this agreement for the past 120 years because of the state of work that the chiefs has agreed to do, to be involved in economy, to be involved in money. And so they understood that the people have to be working constantly, day and night, and to be involved in the economy of the country. But this was not our state of awareness before that, before the laws, before the government, before education, before all these
illusion. Oh, did we lose him? Please no. There he is. He's there. Okay.
Be our ancestors.
He's blanking out.
For us to drink it for great state. And so it's funny that you're actually mentioning it because that is the role of what the.
It's timely, Tui.
Try not to talk while he's talking because it's
the planet or just to show them a way to return to a parasympathetic state, which is the rest and regenerate. So Kevin, when he came for a visit, he was able to come and actually experience it. He came in with a very, very high frequency of movement and talking, and I call it fire actually, and he's calm and relaxed, and he's in a parasympathetic state of rest, and then he's thinking more clearly, he's more slowed down. After a few days of being in Fiji, he's actually really slowed down, and he's gone to the momentum of the what we call the Fiji time, or the collective time, which is very slow. If you come to Fiji, you will feel how slow it is. And so if you come from a very fast, instant state where you always at work, waking up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're going to prepare for go to work, come back right in the afternoon, in the night. When you come here and you try to keep doing that, the whole collective mind will slow you down. And if you go against it, you'll just feel out of place, and you will stick out like a sore thumb. Everyone will notice you rushing everywhere. When you're supposed to just, we call it, take it easy, just relax, yeah, and everything. Don't worry about what you're gonna do tomorrow. And that's I know it's similar to that movie, The Lion King animation. Hakuna Matata. It means no worry. And so that's a state of awareness that that is needed to, for the change that is coming in, and for the, just like how Tank is actually fully explained in a very powerful way about the Book of Enoch. And it's actually what we are doing right now. Everything is just coming together, working together. If you they have people just playing their own role, and by doing that, they are fulfilling their own agreement, and they're fulfilling their own. They will feel that satisfaction and joy just by doing the role, because it's part of the DNA agreement that they are here to play. And there are people that can accelerate, people that has to do with health, with all the technologies and all that. And so everything is just working together. And I was telling all the chief yesterday, we are actually in a very different planet, a different world right now. The separation of these two worlds has separated. The people that are still in the physical and still thinking the old ways, they are separated from us, and we are thinking this way. And so we have to continue that way to be able to help them, because they will see that light, and they will be able to look and see and recognize that they're in the dark, and then they will move their awareness, and then they will be so interested to be free from the darkness. And that's what we are going to do. We can't help everyone trying to go out and explain. We have to just show it and show them the way. And in that way, they will build that, what Tank was just explaining. And to us, in my language, we call what he is explaining there, everything working together and all these things. We call it Manna. That is Manna to us. The Manna is all that, not just the individual, but the collective movement of everything, and the recognizing of the oneness of everything around you that is still just you. And that's ultimately what the human body is. It's just the oneness of everything outside of it. And so once everybody will realize, you'll be able to communicate, and you'll be able to move anywhere using the fifth element that you are one with. And so, and this is basically what the sovereignty that needs to be remembered by every single person on the planet. And Tank has mentioned it and has explained it really well. And I'm thankful to be here talking about it and explain it, because the more we talk about it, the more it becomes more clear through time. Because the problem is the time, because awareness needs time to actually make sense of everything that we are trying to understand. And so as we go through time, the more expands in our collective awareness or individual consciousness will be. And so if we talk more about it, after that there will be more experience that will just create more clarity to what you've just heard or what you've just thought. And I'm thankful for this subject that we've been talking for the past few days about the kingdom of Manna, and the real reason why I reached out is because I've seen the through the wisdom and discussion with the chiefs, we see the maybe the result or the end result of what they're trying to do. Even they do mean well. They try to really help people, but we have to have an environment. We fully understand that that environment has to be able to cultivate and and help people to regain their sovereignty. And if we are creating a project that limits their capability of regenerating that on their own, or remembering them on their own, or regenerating and realizing that the body, they don't need help from outside. The body is fully capable of healing itself from all the diseases, from all the imbalances that's existing in life. And they have to have this environment that they can learn this, to change the programming and change the way they think, and ultimately individually regain and remember their connection to themselves, the body and the spiritual energy within. And in this way, everyone will be able to connect to the planet, because I always tell the chiefs, the body is the planet. If you connect to your body, the body, you will be connecting yourself to everything around you. The 12 senses, your muscles, the skin, these all part of the 4 element that is all around you. And the awareness around you, you just have to try, and because of the programming for the past 100 years, we have disconnected ourselves from our body, and in that way we've disconnected from the planet. And so I teach them how to actually recommunicate themselves, and do it as a lifestyle. To wake up every morning, ask the body for permission to live and to breathe and to do all these things, that all this decision that you're going to do on the day. Ask the body first, talk to the body individually, and then reconnect you to the air. Breathe in, and reconnected you to the water. Take a drink, and then realize the sun, that is the fire. Then realize the soil and the land that you are standing on, and reconnect all of them with the awareness within you. And just by doing this, they are changing. They are reconnecting themselves with all these 4 elements works in motion and join together as one through the 5th element, and how naturally everything just grows around them, how their life moves around them. Whatever they would need, it will just happen. They will just manifest the needs of the day, just because they're working together with the Manna, which is what Tank is actually talking about. And this capability will become more and more wide experienced by everyone when they start to experience or start to actually realign themselves the same way. And so right now we have almost 7,000 people that I'm involved with and talking with and discussing with, to change their way of eating, change the way they think, change the way they create intent, and so to be able to prepare for the physical manifestation of the Manna, which is what Kim and the team represent. And that's, I always tell them, you have to align yourself first. Everything outside of you will just come when it's supposed to come, at the moment it's supposed to come. And you will see that, if everyone just do their own role, and they will fully if everyone, not just their own role, but if everyone reconnect themselves to themselves, their role, and they will be able to see the big picture of how everything works together, and they can recorrect it, relearn a lesson. And that is why I'm here trying to actually talk about the kingdom of Manna and the good things that they're trying to do, which if I would be after 2 or 3 days, I'll take time. We'll be talking with the chief, and then we'll write a very lovely letter of love to them, because we respect them as people, as normal people just like us, trying to do good, and having a capability to help, and they try their best. And there are just things that we need to learn from each other. that if, for example, if they're able to realign themselves to original agreement that they agreed to, we'll be very happy because they've actually represented what they claim to be, which is Manna. And when they claim the name Kingdom of Manna, it's from our perspective as a native uh, tribe of the Manna. It's we wanted to see how what they do they really know or do they understand it, or is it just pieces of paper or just agreement like the old system, or are they just trying to do a certain business or a business transaction, or are they just like they don't really know the deep meaning to the fifth element which they're claiming. And that's the reason like we are not going to stand here and judge them, but we will actually have a chance to just guide them. And if they're able to learn it from from the way we talk with each other, then it's a good thing. And the simplest thing that we'll request for them is just to get back to the original agreement. They've signed a letter, an agreement with the sovereignty of the trust, and they've exchanged it and acknowledged the sovereignty. They just have to do that again. They just have to maintain it if they can't do it anymore. I mean, even in our cult, we believe in how we can, we have what you call mataningasao, is how we can actually relearn from what we have done and realizes that it's not, to the benefit of all. And then we will try and recorrect it because we're still here, we're still living, we still can talk, we can talk things out, we can explain, and we can learn from each other. And they're actually doing really well if they're reaching dozens of tribes as they claim. Then it will it will accelerate the distribution of everything that the trust is supposed to do. And that's only if they go back to the original treaty to protect the trust, to work with the trust. But if their motive is power and physical illusions, then they will learn their own lesson, because the new path right now is just love and unity, and that's what Manna is. And it's a very big responsibility if you claim that name and if you use it, because the native people who had full understanding of what it is. We can see through the physical illusion of people. It's funny because they use that word imposter in the email, and that's the imposter is it's you are just pretending to be someone that you don't really understand who it is or know what it is. And so this responsibility will lie on the hands again, and if they can do that, if we can correct it, and if they can work it out with Kim, we will recognize them as as the sovereignty, as how Kim has recognized them from the beginning. But if they can do that, then they I will write them an email again from the Ra Collective, because it's part of this agreement that we have with the Ra and the Zak Confederacy. And this is the real reason why I reached out to you, Dan, and Tank, and Robert, and the way you guys are involved, because I'm here as a guardian of my the native tribes, and I want there are things that I won't allow happening, and I won't allow happening to the people. And the only people that will be able to stop them or be guide the chiefs. That is my role, and not just that, my role towards the collective agreement of returning the planet to a regenerative, remembering what sovereignty is, and replace and returning sovereignty to every single person on the planet, every animal, and every plants and trees, and these and how these sovereignties and how they all work together in harmony and in unity and in love. And so Yeah, so I'm thankful for the chance to be able to do that. Like I was saying a few days ago, I contacted them, yeah, even though I knew they've already been separated, because the meaning of Manna, like I said yesterday, which is one of the most very important point. If you get separated, if you're trying to do something according to the fifth element, and you separate yourself because of physical valuing of physical illusion like power, money, or thinking about control, then you're just perpetuating what the Great White Throne has been doing for all those thousands of years, and you negate the whole purpose of what you're just doing just by beginning in that manner. And that integrity needs to be written. It's their responsibility, because without them fulfilling that agreement, there won't be any value to the illusions of letters, of exchanging of sovereignties that they're trying to do, or that anyone will try to do. It has no value, because it has negated every single thing from the beginning. And so if I know that as soon as we will heal this, and we'll heal it only out of love, only out of understanding, out of that point where nothing affects you, but everything is your gift of learning, we'll be able to move forward in a very, very swiftly manner. And if it doesn't happen, that's another probability that we will try and adapt. And so I know Kim already understood this. That's why she's trying to create a new system. It took a few more years, a few more months to be able to reconstruct it anew. But I know if this never happened in the first place, we would be in a very, very fast-tracked or accelerated manner right now, and monies will be distributed to all the projects, and people all over the world will be able to already know what the money is, what the trust is, what the Kim represent. There will be so much people that will be in the know now. Uh, uh, I had visited last night. I had visitors last night, and they said that they told me that if this wouldn't have happened, the change would have begun a decade ago. And and I started laughing, and I said, okay, then there's always lesson to be learned in every probability, in every choice we choose. And so I'm thankful for this opportunity to be sharing it, and I will be representing my people to the kingdom of Manna in the natural way of how we respect them as people, as sovereign being. And if they learn from it, or if they don't learn from it, that will be totally the choice. And I know, because they actually reacted when I said that we don't recognize anyone else on the planet except for the trustee, and they reacted to that. So that's why they actually wrote down an email. That involved my name and my claims on the videos that we've been doing. And so I'm thankful for the thank and Kim's reply to the email, and I will do my part as the Ra Confederacy, as she will do her part as the Za Confederacy, and that's agreement. And everyone else on the planet, whatever you represent, you will do your part according to the lessons that you are supposed to teach people and you're supposed to learn. And it works in both ways. And this is how we will regain our sovereignty, by relearning and re-experiencing the life and the choices that we are experiencing every single day. And so I know it's a lovely journey, and I'm so thankful for everyone that's here. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Dan. Thank you to everyone that's in the chat room, everyone that is watching live. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and to be talking, and to be moving forward this great new future that we are creating. And it's always fun to do it. And I always tell the chiefs, we will do it. We will do that. We will involve, and we will learn from it, and we will grow together.
Thank you, Tui. And let me ask. So, if the, I hear you're reaching out in love back to them. So, if there's already been the case that the Fiji has been registered with the Kingdom of Manna, how does that get rectified? How does
All right. Okay. That's a good question. The Kingdom of Mana, they move around. They tried to. They are building a city in Los Negros. If you go to their website, you'll find out that they actually have been. They have funds and they're doing it. They have dealings with the Papua New Guinea government, and they're doing. There will be some people from Fiji that will be there, like people with trades, and they will be helping out in the security in the building. And so, what they do is they go to the native tribes and they try to exchange sovereignty or the sovereignty letter, which is the same way that they did with Kim in the beginning. And then they exchange letters, and they will have communication, and then they will talk, and they will help out on how to actually help the native tribes and to do maybe help them with finances, with buildings, with trying to work with their governments, and they are doing this to all the tribes, and some of the tribes are almost isolated in all these areas in the Pacific. The only difference here in Fiji is because the government here in Fiji and the native tribes have a very unique structure. It's a little different from normal governments. We have the native villages, cultures, and the chiefs, which the Great Council of Chiefs, and then we have the government that you would equate um, to the corporations in the world. And so we are separated. The people, we have the native people, and they have the governments. And so other are native people that are working in governments, and all of them, but they have a different hat in the governments, and they have government workers. And then we have the native tribes. And so because the Kingdom of Manna understand that the government is running on a cooperation structure of the cabal and all this, because they're all against the United. If you read the declaration, you'll see that they are all, because they started out with Kim, and they know they also are doing what everyone is trying to do. They're trying to get notice to the United Nations, to every country, that the United Nations and all these have no more sovereignties. They are no longer to be able to be helping or interacting with governments because they are not sovereign. And they do that. They try to. They come here to our the native tribes here, and I was the first one to actually contact them because of my connection and my agreement that I started this conversation with. If everything was aligned, I wouldn't be in contact with them, because the reason why I want to be in contact with them, so that people will be able to learn this lesson and to be able to be here at this moment, this time, and so people can know the difference, because people can get confused really easily from what the trust is and what the Kingdom of Mana is, and what the Kingdom of Mana is in relation to the trust and to the people, and what their role is. And so we take it upon ourselves to be able to learn that. We wrote a letter of a sovereign letter, because we've been in contact for the past 8 months, and since September, I've talked with Jasper Element. Because he claims to be I call them to be the embodiment of the Elohim. That is all the archangels and all the Elohim. And so he came in with that authority, and so he uses that. And and then I told them, we're talking with the chiefs, because you can create an illusion and you use that to actually empower you. But what does it mean if no one recognizes it? And so just like what Tank is talking about yesterday, how he needs to get all the native tribes to support him, or to support the Manna kingdom, so that they would be able to have some, some mana behind them. Yeah. Yeah, but yes. Sorry, then go ahead.
I said they have to fill up their mana bank so they can do a withdrawal when they need the mana.
Yeah, like like you said, like the Robert has put it out. The true value comes from the spiritual energy within everyone, and that's how everything exists. And so they're trying to use that. I mean, the more they create sovereignty, the more value they gain. It's just like currency. The more you move it around from one person to another, the more values it has. And so sovereignty is just what the whole system in the world is running on, the sovereignty of every individual. So if they just take it back, remember it, there won't be any energy for these big machines to be able to run on. The energy is being driven from us, and that's why we are feeling the effects. And now it is changed to become its original name, which is Manna, which is the fifth element, which is now unaffected by everything outside, but just giving through love around you. And yeah, so we won't even like recognize it in a negative way. It's just physical. It's like you're just feeding into the negative powers that they will try and they will try to change your mind to you. And so for us, it doesn't affect us if they think that they will register us or they will do a certain way of system and all that. The sovereignty comes from a person to another, and if we see the intent to be pure and out of love, we will respect them, because that's who they are, that's what they claim to be. And if they respect us the same, we'll be able to do the same thing to them. But the only thing that we have is the only thing that is misaligned is what they did to the trust or to Kim, because they promised, or they wrote it down, they signed it up to actually protect the trust and protect the interest, protect the trustee herself, Kim. But they didn't stand up to it. Not even, I don't know how long did they sign that. Was it a few months, and then, or they can't even maintain it for 1 year or 2 years? What's the point of trying to recognize and trying to write this down in a paper if that's the first thing you do? Just writing down an agreement and then totally turn away from it, just because you try and value, like you try and value power, or you wanted to have the intent to try and control the asset, or wanted to be the one to do. Yeah. So like Kim told me that we have our own role, and if we can stick to our own role and we play to the fullest of our capabilities, everything will just that's Kim's role, this is my role, and everyone has to do their own. And together we will be able to connect to ourselves, and then we can connect to the collective mind of the planet, and to connect to the new future that we trying to correct, or trying to create. So this will be what I'm doing, is just simply example of the collective mind trying to readjust itself and trying to correct some of the confusion that has been caused in the past. And that is a role of that's the role of our native tribes, because no one else will be able to do this. They will try and give it a chance, and if they don't, and then in the future we'll say we've acted upon the pure intent of love, but they've still continued in that way, and now we can justify to actually move on. And so
let let me just ask. So if you're offering, peace and love towards them to move beyond this and asking them to correct their ways, which would mean the whole system that they've set up for registry, not in my vision of how this is, and I'm just trying to put it in context, right?
Yes.
So,
Dan, they have no power here.
I
They
do
want power,
understand.
but they don't have any power.
I do understand the intent of that question, and the 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 lesson is really like, if we can just choose to ignore and just to um, keep it under the, what you call this, how you say it in English, just wipe it away, and yes,
you're not
and
making
put it under.
the military of to invade Papua New Guinea, then?
No,
No, it's
no, but you see, they you might not, like what you're saying right now. They, if you look at the, because then you will understand. If you look at the way they do things, they're actually infringing in the sovereignty of the 12 tribes, which is our 12 tribes.
yes.
And so we, because we understand or how where they're coming from. They're looking at this thing is like a business venture. They're trying to like come and do using it as a project and help out and all on this, and they don't understand that this has to be the native people have to regenerate themselves. They have to do that on their own, and they wanted to do it as a business agreement, and so that everything they can keep it in line. Or however, they try to create a database, a registration, to try and organize their data and all these things that are collecting, because it's a really big mess if you're trying to work with thousands of 1,000 tribes and 1,000 chiefs, because here in one island you'll have almost thousands of tribes in one island. Here in Fiji, you have all these different tribes, and if you want to engage with them like individual tribes and all individual chiefs, that will take a very long time to be able to do that. So in the Solomon Islands, you have all these different tribes, and they will have to register one by one to all this. So what we did in Fiji, we don't have that. The representation is just me. I represent the land and the sea, and which is it is in the future you'll truly understand what it means. And the people that is represented by Ratu Melveskula, and which is he's called the Ratu. The Ratu is the chiefs that has the rulership of all the 12 tribes. And so if we can just do that, and we've already exchanged. We represent the whole 12 tribes, and so when they mention thousands of tribes, that can be still be in one country, because there will be a lot of tribes in one country if they are doing that in that way. So it's not talking about one nation or 1,000 nations. It's talking about all the individual tribes. In maybe on an island you have 12, another island you have 20, and so in all the hundreds of the islands that we have in the Pacific, that's how that's what they actually meant when they're doing that. And what are we doing now? Because I want all these other tribes to learn from this and to be able to understand the structure. Because a lot of them don't fully know what is happening. To them, they just see someone coming in and wanted to help, and they don't have the full picture. They don't understand what Kim or who Kim is, because of the limitation of communication. And this is one of the reasons why the chiefs, when we get recognized by Kim, we will do this in like physically and in our native way of doing it in the cultural protocol. We will go to all these tribes that they have influence, and we will teach them and we will show them what is really happening, the true history and all these that because there's a lot of discernment that has been that cannot be the people, and there's a weakness in discernment. People cannot, because of the education system that has been introduced yeah. So people are just being designed to be just slaves. They don't know what's actually going on. They don't know how the banking system works and all this. And these are people living in isolated areas, and so we will make that our physical task to do this and to let them know, and so they can be more aware and more they can have more information on the decision they make for their people, especially the chiefs. And because of our native connection, it is really easy. And this is how we, as our native tribes, will be able to regain our sovereignty on the experience that we have with our the cultural groups that we're gonna be visiting and we will be moving around all around with. So yeah, and it will be interesting that they have this comes, because for us Manna is still Manna. If people are using that name and they're coming claiming to be representing the Manna, the natives, as soon as we talk, they will be able to see the truth. They'll be able to see through the they will be able to see the end result of their communication or their interaction with the kingdom of Manna and with us. And so,
Hey,
like I said, yes,
Tui, can I interrupt you
yes,
right here? Because
yes, go ahead.
So now, in essence, I'm very sure that the original agreements, right, say 16,500 years ago or whenever 26,000 years, I don't know when exactly, but I would imagine that the original tribes had a similar mentality and attitude as you do, right? So now the way that they infiltrated them back then is it's a mirror image of what is happening right now. So
Yes.
so
Exactly.
so now my kind of question is now with this, and I agree with you that there's clearly a shift, right? There's a shift and there's a change, and I do expect them all to recognize this, right? But I kind of want to put it on record in a sense, right, for them, because at some point I hope the tribes are able to, I don't know how, I don't speak the language, like that, but hopefully the energy will definitely translate, because I think it's really important that somebody is able to explain these things, right? That's respected in that arena to make them realize, because you got to think these guys are. I mean, it's demonstrated by this email interaction we just had, right? They what they didn't come in with a
Yes.
benevolent attitude and try to say, I'm not sure who the people are. But it wasn't like that. It was like they're imposters, right? Like, things like that. It's because that's what they do, right? And even now, I never would have even mentioned them. I never would have brought them up. The only reason why, and
Yeah.
even when I'm not bad mouthing. I'm just saying this is what they did, and I don't mind taking a step further to speak to their intent, because their intent, when they're talking to 1,000
It's
tribes,
clear. It's
they
clear.
they've gone out to a whole bunch of tribes who are in need, I'm sure, right? They probably, because, and why are they in need? Because the ones that these guys are attached to have starved these people out, right? So
Yes.
it's, in a sense, it's the worst thing to do, is take advantage of people in their most desperate moment, right? When people are in their when they're in need, the devil shows up and kind of says, "Hey, I can take you out of this situation," right? And not to call them the devil per se, but that's what's happening. So, I just want to make sure to point that out in that moment, in full support, by the way, of what you're doing and what you're saying, because I totally agree, and I can see that's going to take some time to sort out, and that, by the way, is why I say patience is out the window, because we've already allowed them enough time to go speak to 1,000 tribes. As of today, I think I've spoken to two. So think about it. It's in retrospect, it's like when you have unlimited resources backing you up and you're out doing these things, it's much easier to go reach 1,000 tribes, right? Versus
Yes.
So that's why I think we're at a point where our reality, here in the third dimensional reality, so to speak, has got to reflect the energy that is happening multidimensionally. So that makes sense.
Chewy, can I add something?
Clear sense. Yes, go ahead.
I think what you're saying, is that when you get the tribes all on the same frequency and they're tapped into source and the planet, that when these fools come down to try to talk to them, they're going to be so apparent as fools that the tribes are not going to buy into it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So
because they have no power. They want power, but they don't know what real power is. And sovereignty and source and planet is real power. That's why they won't win.
So
there's no need. There's no need for fear, because the power, if you're tapped into it, will dissolve all that illusion and all their fakeness, and they won't be able to be.
Part of dissolving that other reality that they were creating is to put them on notice. Say, well, we don't agree to be on your registry. It doesn't.
We do not.
They don't have a choice.
They presented to us under a false premise, because you said that you were, number one, had sovereignty from Kim, but that was removed. So anything that you did before that is that anything you've signed is null and void. But put them on notice that you're aware of the situation and that they have no right to ask for anyone to be on a registry.
Yes, and on that point, I just want to ask Tank if I can actually use the copies of the sovereignty letters that you sent me, because I want them just to show them that we know the original agreement, and if you don't stick to it, then which is, I'm sure it's already been sealed, but just to give them.
Yeah,
go ahead, Tank.
Everything I give you forever. I mean, you can just put this in the bank. If I give it to you, unless otherwise stated, unless I say wait till we don't share this yet, otherwise, always, if I give it to you, I'm giving it to you so you can use it to support what you're doing. Even when I responded to an email the other day, I made sure to write it in such a way that it would support, what you're doing, because I want to make sure it's something that is clear to anyone, and that it's concise and it explains what's actually happening. And I look, I'll even go so far as to say this, I'll say this, Robert, I'd appreciate it if we don't call them names. We don't need to call them any name. We don't need to call them fools.
No,
because
I know that.
And from this, and this is why, because what happens is, right now you have a faction that is going around and they're trying to say that Kim is mean-spirited and she's got this intent. Well, don't give them any ammunition, right?
Exactly.
Don't give our enemy anything to use against us. Now, what I have stated is just a fact. Now the problem is the facts are so damning. The perception will be, he's criticizing us. You know what? At the end of the day, this is the third day in a row we've said anybody can come on and challenge what we're saying. They're welcome to do so. All of these different groups who want to be critical, I'm not criticizing or starting fights with them. What I'm doing is I am stating accurately. And look, I'm not trying to be funny, but I have perfect recall. So people who think they're going to be slick and catch me slipping up in a lie or something, I'm not going to lie. It's not going to happen. You're not that skilled. It's never going to happen. So I make sure that what I'm saying is exactly the case. Now, I will not call them names. And so just for the record, I don't condone calling them fools, because I don't think they are fools. I think they are willingly taking action against the people. I don't think that's foolish. I do think there is an alternative intent, but I won't call them names. I will not call them names, because you know what? Because I'm not a child. No offense, by the way, but I'm just saying I'm not a child, and I won't be in a name calling battle.
Indeed.
We want
there are better words.
like Tui always talks about this, and I'm just repeating it in a different way, but we want to make sure our conduct, our demeanor, our attitude, our disposition,
Integrity.
our words, our actions are without reproach. Because when we walk into any place, we have got to set a higher standard than what's been set for us. We have got to do better. We cannot divide everyone. We give every opportunity to come together. We give every opportunity to do the right thing. Now, if that's not, if we put out a hand and they don't take it, that's different. But I just want to make sure that was clear. At least.
Thank you for reiterating that and clearing that up. My apology.
No, and I'm not trying to attack you. I just want to let you
No,
know.
no, I didn't take it that way. You were right. You're correct. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. So.
Thank you, thank you very much. And so we are in a very beautiful time, very beautiful time indeed. We we are very excited here in Fiji with everything that's happening. The economic system, like we discussed yesterday, it's it's collapsing and it's coming to an end, and the chiefs are very excited when they're looking at all these things because they understand really. I mean, they truly know what's happening, and
the economic system is ending. Yay!
Yeah, because you might not know this, but I actually contacted our prime minister in 2017 and told him to don't conduct anymore, not to conduct anymore. What's it called this elections? Just continue on until the Manna comes, so then we can connect straight to the trust, and then we'll be able to change, overhaul the government and the structure. No more taxes. Take out all the connection to the corporation, to the banks, and reintroduce the new banking system in Fiji, and do a central bank. But then he was, if you look at our not too distant history about our political environment, he was doing that. He actually believed in it, and he was trying to hold on to that. But there was a lot of not opposition, but pressure from outside government. They were trying to, because in a state of democracy, you have to have like these 4 years of the period, and he was running out of time. And after the 4th year, and when people ask him, hey, when are you going to be having the next election? And he's saying, oh, it's on hold. We will just we'll wait and we will see. And then he waited for another 8 months, and then he couldn't wait no longer because there was a lot of pressure. And so I told them, okay, if you conduct the election, then you will learn the lesson that the economy is going to teach you. And so that was 8 months ago. Now, when it's happening, he's trying to reach out to the sources of funds overseas, the World Bank, the IMF. These are the other places that they used to get money from or get funds from, but it's not coming anymore. And so now it's affecting the structure, the wages of the people that are working for governments, or the workers, the public servants. And they just put up a letter yesterday, 2 days ago. They're going to conduct a national strike in the month of May because of the problems with their wages. They're not getting paid for the past few weeks. And so
I just want to add something here.
Yes.
It's been part of the QAnon, information going out, and in the news media, that Trump has been coming out against the Federal Reserve and asking, why are you sending money around the world to all these other central banks?
Right.
Right? That's really the question. So because you're the American central bank, right? Federal Reserve.
Right.
Why are you sending money to all the central banks around the world? What is your reasoning for doing that, right? So obviously they're sending.
Mm-hmm.
So now they haven't been able to send money because there is no money for them to send. Like they can't do it,
Right.
they can't send it out. So everybody is having the same problem, not just Fiji, but all the other countries around the world that can't
Mm-hmm.
get money from the Federal Reserve anymore. They're all in the same situation. So now
Yes, that's true.
to recognize, it's time to reclaim the sovereignty of the countries and go ahead and rebuild. To build a new world, and you're right. No taxes. There should be no taxes. There's no reason for them other than
Mm-hmm.
return money to grab it to feed off of the people. So there has to be another system that is not based around taxes. It's not based about taking away from people. We're supposed to send out and be abundant, continue to grow outwards, and that we can do.
Yes. Also, there's a lot of skilled people that are there. That when the right time comes in, they will be able to play the role. I mean, here in Fiji, they are well aware of what's happening, and I won't underestimate the people that are waiting for this change and who have been sent here in preparation for what's going to happen. And so, like I said, like what Kim has said, we play our role, we do our role. Everyone will just come in when they're supposed to, and we will be able to do it together. For the past years, I've been in contact with all my contacts here in on the ground, or the people that have all these different sets of skills and all the different like they have the awareness of how the slave system and how to actually implement a progression structure to progressively introduce the abundance-based system to the whole masses or to the people. And it will be, like I said, it will just begin with our next the native protocol because of our role as like I said in the past shows, we've been waiting for this for thousands of years to happen and to actually be an example. And if you can do that, like within a month or two, people will be able to, will be able to shine that light and be able to be an example to the rest of the countries in the Pacific and hopefully to the rest of the world. Because we will create a world that is not based on any currency anymore. The progression that we have, we'll try and accelerate it until we don't use money anymore, and we just value people from the gifts and the work that they have, or the skills and what they can actually physically create, and how it affects other people. And that will be the value of true value of what the mana is from within. And to be able to do that, we just need to deprogram the people again and try and restructure. And I know 50% of that learning will actually just happen once there are funds that are coming in. 50% of that we are learning, because once the fund comes in, everyone will realize the change has begun, and they'll be able to question everything that has been happening. They'll be able to wake up and then realize the reality that is there. And I know a lot of them, their whole world will actually collapse, and they will see it's not just collapsing and changing into into oblivion or into a very bad situation, but it's changing to become an environment where they can actually express the innate creation abilities that's within them. And so I'm excited. That's why we wrote the 2 letter to Kim. And if we will be given the chance to express ourselves, we will do that to the fullest of our potential and to every And if you can do that easily faster than anyone else in the world, then basically we'll just fulfill our role as to be the first. The the funny thing about this is because even the government already knows this, and we have a political party that's running on government right now. That's the PM's party that's running, and the name of the party is Fiji First. Fiji First, because they're already aware. They are already aware on their role to, even though they're playing that part and being in that corporation, they're already waiting for this change as well. And they'll just fulfill that and will be able to do that easily. But I understand that not everyone in every country in the world is like Fiji. Everyone have their own rate, and everyone have their own progression to be able to change. And no one will know that better than the people that are living there, and the people that are living, and the people that are making decisions on the changes that will be happening around them. And so, for this reason, I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here and to be talking with you guys and discussing and connecting with all the experiences that's happening all around the world, all the experiences that you guys are having around you. You guys in the US, I tell Kevin, you guys are in the front line of the war. And so there's always love and blessing from Fiji to you guys, because you truly are warriors to be able to stand and to be able to correct and recorrect the collective mind of the whole entire nation. And I'm thankful, thankful to what Tank is doing. Tank is representing the great change and the Go Camelot, the website, and all the intention and all the creation that they're trying to rebuild. And I'm thankful for that. And you guys are what you call this, actually sample or a template of what that needs to be done to the rest of the nations in the world. And if we would be a part of that and be able to play a role, that is what we're going to do. And yeah, I'm thankful to you, Dan. I know you have that power and influence in the Philippines. You and I know our tribes will come there and will consolidate and create that awareness and that awakening that needs to be, like the people there who will work together on it. We're gonna have to do our part here in our country locally, and then to the rest of the Pacific, Hawaii, Tonga, Samoa, and restructure the awareness of the people and wake them up. So yeah, we are looking forward to that. We are very excited. We meet every single day, except for Sundays. And so the more we meet, there's more people coming in. Now we almost there's 7,000 all around the country, but there are more people that are coming in, children, adults that are waiting, and I'm giving them documents about this whole system, about the law system, the birth certificate, and all these things that they need to know about how to change the future. And it's moving in an alarming rate. And I'm thankful, and I'm always in gratitude to how everything is going down. And yeah, so grateful indeed.
Hey, Tui,
I'm very grateful also.
Yeah, me too.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
Tui,
Tanka, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I didn't mean to ask you this question. You talked about them not recognizing your sovereignty. And I mean, and I really, Dan and I talked about this initially. We both even hesitated to even bring it up because we're not trying to talk about any one group in particular, other than just opposing forces. So I want to leave the name off. But you said they didn't recognize your sovereignty, and I guess I wanted to ask you about that because
Okay.
culturally speaking, I would like to know, like, for example, like, I don't want to be offensive. You know what I mean? Like, when I come see you, I want to make sure that I recognize your sovereignty. Now, if you're talking about energetically, I mean, I've recognized that from the first time we talked. But I'm curious if you meant in that way, or it was their actions, or if you wouldn't mind just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
expounding on that.
So the reason why I can talk about sovereignty really well is because it is in my culture. It is in the culture because that's the role that my culture or the people here will have. We have what we call the sovereignty, the law of sovereignty, and everyone and all the tribes in Fiji, they follow this sovereignty law. And so to be able to move um, from place to another, you have to understand that the chiefs and all those districts where you're going to, there's a certain protocol that you follow to actually respect them in a way that they're respected. And so if you disrespect them, and there's in the way you conduct yourself, in the way the clothing that you wear, the dresses, the this is what like is taught to all the tourists that come to Fiji. You're not supposed to wear hat when you come to a village. You're not supposed to be. That is, if you're wearing hat, it's disrespectful. Only the chief will wear hat in that village because he's the only sovereign in the village, and everyone will respect it as they go there. The ladies are not supposed to be wearing like pants or this just respectful way of approaching someone, which is it's not you're not invasive in in the way you conduct yourself towards where they are and towards the space. And so one of that is to for example, over here, if I call to a high chief, um, and if I exchange sovereignty with the high chief through a call, it's very disrespectful. Because I specifically told in an email. I know, Tank, you read the email. I told them they have to bring a physical representation of the Sa Confederacy, and that's part of what the trust is, and it's part of who. Oi. So. Sorry. And so I specifically told them you have to send at least one physical, because this is the only way that you will not disrespect the chiefs, and you will recognize the sovereignty. Not I don't. We don't have a written. We don't write it down in paper. We don't put it down in an illusion outside. You have to physically. Your body has to represent the sovereignty that you represent, or the sovereign country that you represent. If you write it down first, it means nothing to us. And so for them, it runs differently because they want to do the exchange of letters first, and then they want to do that first. And for us, if if you do that, in the past, we call it kaisi. These are people that are eaten and straightened up, like they're corrected. And so we have tolerance. I told the chiefs, you have to tolerate it because this is the way they understand things. And they're here. The chief said they're here trying to talk about sovereignty, and they don't even understand it. and so no, maybe they understand it in a different way. We just we just maintain it. Maybe we read through all the books and then we understand. There's a lot of things that they have, which is part of the old way of the old system of in the book. But then the essence, which is the mana, is what they don't have, because they think the mana that they bring is money, or is what they're gonna come and do. No, the mana is the essence within them that has to be respected, and that's what when they come here, they have to respect it from the native tribes. So once we do that, if they do realize that, and like I said, that's really, really important to us. And so, but it's really good that Kevin came straightforward, because that we didn't even expect it. He just came in straight up physically, and he represented the whole of the US and everyone in Europe and everyone, and his signature. And that he didn't understand this, but it created shielded that letters, and actually create value. and shielded it, and now it is spiritually binding, and because it's here physically. And to them, like to the Jews, they don't care if you're, like if you're coming from the trust, even if you're just from the US, if you're coming because of the manna, then you already represent the trust. It's no different. They will see you as it's how the collective mind works. Even though even though he might not be directly involved with the trust, no, but if he's talking with you guys, with Ken, and he recognized this right from where he comes from, and this is very, very powerful to us. It means manna, very, very powerful, because he just reacted to a few words that I said, and he makes sense of it, and he could know that and a true value of what Fiji is representing to this change. And they came, and then for him to be here, and they asked him, "Why are you here?" And he said, "I'm here for the manna." I said, "Okay, that is it. That's all we, just one word, but it explains the whole reason of how everything is working." And because that's the problem with the English language and my language. There's some interpretation of the words that I'm trying to interpret. I can find context on the English words, because I try so hard to try and explain one word in Fijian that would take a few paragraphs, even almost one book in English. And that one word is actually a word manna, because manna is our sovereignty, is the essence of life, is power, is the complete oneness within everything around you, within the plants, the fish, and only the sow in Fiji, only the sow. That's what my representation is. The sow has manna, and wherever he goes, we don't have. I'm united with everything, all the plants and animals. I don't need to fish; the fish just comes up. Because of the manna, so it's quite hard to explain. But what Tank read out of the book of Enoch, and that phrase, that is what manna is, and that is what the fifth element is. And then if everyone is aware of that, they will fully understand their role and the part that they play, and not just that, through time also. And so, I'm thankful to be talking, and the more we talk about it, the more clear it becomes. So, thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Well, we've got a lot to, on Manna filling up here. So I can feel it all filling up all the reservoirs of manna.
I mean, we. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. You're there's I'm suggesting giving notice, right, and of that position with the Kingdom of Manna, but just as because it and the power that that they are accumulating these banks of manna, right? So that they can basically say, well, we've got 51% of all the manna, right? So we win, right? This is the goal. It's the the accounting system that they're using to basically say that they now are the ones. But there's infinite amount of manna. So you can't have 51%. So
of course,
it's just a way of gathering, or creating the illusion, right? Creating.
Yes. And so, just to answer your point, sorry, Dan, there's the well tooth that I showed you one time, which has we call it the tamua. We use that as the symbol of manna, because we can actually put any illusion into it, any illusion, even time. We can put that into and we can, because it's the DNA of the people of the sea, which some people call the mermaids or the fish people, the whale people, the dolphin people. or the Mambale, we call it Mambale. And so the DNA is the only thing that has value in my culture. We didn't agree to silver and gold thousands of years ago, because we will the thousands of years we will try and run businesses and all of that. We, like I said before, we won't be able to. If we come to Fiji, you'll just see all our Indo-Fijians running businesses because it's in their blood, it's in their agreement. And so for us, we don't have that agreement. But in one tambua, we can even have the whole world in one tambua, in just one. That's how powerful it is, and that's how powerful the human illusion can be. And we can create and do anything, and we can reveal anything we want to, and we can put it in anyway. So this is what mana is. So the mana is within you. You can actually use it to any value that you can conduct it to. And so it can mean life, it can mean death, it can mean anything. So when we speak about mana, like I said, it can take the whole book to actually explain it, and to be sharing it with you guys with all the understanding and the lessons that you've gained all your lives, and it will just sink into every experience that you've gone through and all the awareness that you've if you read it or if you are getting awareness with it. It's all pointing to this point in time that we're in, and all these experiences that are coming together. It will make sense on what the reasons why you learned it at that time in that point in your life. And so all this is what mana is, and to be able to do that and use and create a new future just by creating that new illusion, new sets of illusion, to be able to be free. We'll realize that we don't need to create value for it, because we are the one giving value to everything. And if we take the value and we put it outside, then we'll be enslaved, and we'll make that sovereign in our life, and the sovereignty will be lost. And so sovereignty is very, 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 very wide range of word, which is just equivalent to what mana is. The sovereignty, wherever you focus your awareness in, or wherever you give it, whatever illusions you give it to, it will become sovereign. And so now, this time, it needs to change. Everyone needs to remember that they are the sovereign people of the planet, and everything around them will just collapse, because they are no longer using this energy. They are no longer running their machines of enslavement on the sovereignty to the people, or the mana that is within them. And so, yeah, it's a responsibility to every individual to be able to relearn and remember who they are, whatever time that they need. This will it's going to be a natural change that it will happen all over the planet. And so it's funny when I said that it will come on its own, and say that we have to accelerate it. And so it's it's the way it is. It's accelerating right now. I'm reaching out to you from Fiji, thousands of miles away, thousands of kilometers away, and it's happening. And I'm thankful for that. And
Tui, just
yes.
So let me just clarify so that everybody knows. Tui and we're not saying different things, by the way, because in reality, what he's saying is let it happen, and I'm really in agreement with that. The only difference is everybody plays a part, right? So there's some people that are going to lay back and wait, and there's others that will hear that and they'll feel like it's a call to action. And you know what? If you feel that way, you're right, because it's one universal spirit that's making it happen. Now that spirit exists in you too. So because that spirit's in you and it's in me and in others,
yes,
everybody's got a different role to play. So I just want to clarify that Tui and I are not saying different things. We're really saying the same things from two different aspects, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so, yep. Everyone needs to play their role, and there's nothing else that is going to stop us now. We are at this point that we are moving and creating the new future that we want. And so just now that it will happen, the physical body will go through it, and it will be there. So the moment now is always now. There's no movement in time. And so just because of the DNA agreement, we have to like absorb all the moments by moments by moments, and it seems like a long time, but it's always going to be on the now. And in the spiritual level, all these things is already agreed and already done. And just by being here and being in gratitude, I just wanna say blessings to everyone that's in, blessings to everyone that's in the chat room, the live chat, and thank you for you guys. Then thank Robert for today's show. I hope everyone is everyone is um, it's funny. I'm trying to speak in Fijian, but I'm translating in English. But simply, I'm just saying. The simple thing I want to say is thank you to every single sovereign people on the planet right now that is here, that is going to be aware in the future. And thank you so much for being here on the planet right now. Your life is what the whole world is, and what is everything around you is. And thank you again.
Thank you, Tui.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
Joey.
yeah, we're right here in the 3 hours. Another 10 more minutes. We have 3 hours, so we're being consistent at least. So this is an exciting time where we are in this time of when we are all coming together. All together, we will rise and be much more abundant in everything that we're heading towards. So it's good we recognize the situations and decide to turn away from the illusions that we don't want to participate in. And we're here doing it. So great that we're coming together at this time. It's actually fantastic and exciting this right now. So well, and until tomorrow. We'll do this. We'll be here tomorrow. And then when we're, I guess we'll be doing this for quite a while. I don't know. We never plan on how long this was.
I you know what? I made the claim that we'll do this until I know that we are actually funding projects, and then we'll limit it down to like once or twice a week or something. but and the other night when we were kind of falling apart on the show, I thought this must be the end. But then thanks to the Kingdom of Manna, we had new life rejuvenated. So I appreciate that.
I'm pretty sure there'll be some more to talk about in the Kingdom of Manna, but I've been reaching out to the king of the 110 tribes here in the Philippines that I had interaction with, and so I hope that I know a lot of the tribes here in the Philippines. Kingdom of Manna, do you know about the Kingdom of Manna? I go, well, I kind of heard something about it, but nothing resonated with me about it. It's nothing. So I never even gave it much more than a few minutes of looking at it. Now I understand why. So here we are. I don't know, let's break here. I'm gonna just ask everyone, please subscribe, hit the like, make a positive comment, and please share. Please share.
Peace and love from Fiji.
And if you'd like to help me on a personal basis, please go ahead and sign up and get some Kringle coin. That helps keep things rolling along here. That's the other abundance-based system. Actually, the king of the 110 tribes of the Philippines accepted the Kringle coin as the official money of the Philippines. So
Okay.
yeah, and,
Nice. Nice.
we have lots of merchants around the world that are registering, that are accepting it, at least in a partial basis. I always think 50 is very good. And there's a lot of promotions to get coin. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to break everything. Went into a commercial. I'm just going to say, please, participate with me, help partner with me, and that helps everything roll along here. I have a website, buykringles.online, and then there's also the Bitcoin mining project as well, abundancemine.club. So please contact me, and we can discuss how we can work together on that. And that's it for today. And then we'll see you everyone tomorrow. Have
Namaste.
a wonderful and namaste.
Peace out from New York.
Peace out. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.